Hey everybody, welcome again to Think Your Way to an Epic Life. And today I've got a real treat for you. I have a woman with me today who has lost over 200 pounds. She went from a size 28 to a size 12. Pretty cool stuff. So she is also a life and health coach, very positive person, and she's been a friend of mine for almost 20 years. So I'm really excited to introduce you to Gwen. Gwen Brown, thank you for coming.
Hi, thank you so much.
This is cool.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
So you have started a business. It's been a while, but you've started a business in coaching. And of course, I'm very interested in coaching because I are one. So talk to me a little bit about your journey and what it is that gives you special powers as a coach, especially in what you specialize in.
Right. Well, it's kind of an interesting story. I really learned a lot through my weight loss journey over the last 6 years. And I had a mutual friend. And when I started this journey, I've been a lifelong learner of mindset, power of thinking, your attitude, living an authentic life. So I have always been very interested in that. I definitely was not living an authentic life when I was over 350 pounds. And I say over 350 because I don't know what I actually weighed above that. I would have had to go on to one of those specialist scales. I no longer could weigh myself at home. I had no idea. Okay, so I decided and made this decision for myself that I really needed to take control of my life, and I had a bariatric sleeve surgery. I know that's not for everyone, but I literally had tried everything you can possibly imagine to lose weight, and I just couldn't get a handle on it. And I felt like I was this athlete in a fat suit that I could not get rid of no matter what I did. And I was so miserable. My body hurt. I was so addicted to food in different ways, emotional eating, just the processed foods, everything. And it wasn't like I ate a ton of that. I ate pretty healthy. I just could not figure out a way to find my way. And I had tried for so long. So I made that decision, and that's a very personal decision for everyone who makes that decision. And interesting enough, after I had the surgery, about a year later, I ran into an old friend of mine who lives here. Her name's Anne Marie, and she also had the same surgery as me. And so after the pandemic, we had both realized that we were not necessarily following the guidelines that you need to after you have bariatric surgery, because, bariatric surgery is nothing more than a tool. It just helps you. The unfortunate piece of that is most people don't realize it truly is just a tool. There is so much more work that has to go into it outside of the actual surgery that you have to work on your own. There isn't support. There isn't someone holding your hand like there is in the beginning, and you're going to a nutritionist, and you have to go through a psychological evaluation to make sure you're of sound mind to be able to have this done. And so we kind of teamed up because we both found over the pandemic, just like everybody else, we were baking bread. We were, doing all the things everybody was doing during the pandemic, and a lot of it focused around food. And people nurturing themselves with food, like homemade bread and cookies. And, there were all kinds of recipes and things flying around. And I am a foodie at heart and always have been. I love to cook. So it was very hard. I also had both daughters. We moved, we downsized, and you helped us with that. And we moved from a 2,000 square foot home into under 1,300 square feet. And both my daughters moved home.
Oh, gosh.
Like within the first 3 months. And so we had all four of us, 2 dogs and 3 cats in under 1,300 square feet. So we were really close and really, really having to, figure things out. So anyway, it was not the most ideal environment for someone who's had weight loss surgery, because I was able, when the kids weren't there, not to have any of that stuff in the house.
Right.
Okay, so all of a sudden, all this other stuff that I didn't normally eat was around, and yeah, I partook in it, So my girlfriend and I touched base. We started hiking together, and we decided that we would support each other. Because there really, like I said, after surgery, there's not a lot of support for bariatric patients. So we started hiking together. We were accountable to each other. We literally would send our menus each day to each other. And this was a couple of years ago now. So I lost everything I had gained, which was about 20, 25 pounds. Okay. Which was scary.
Yes, I bet.
Same with her. We both lost, I'm still losing weight. She is at her all-time low ever in her adult life. And I am almost there. I mean, I would like to lose another 15 pounds, but if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I'm not like totally focused on that anymore. But that accountability and that was the impetus for us to start a business, because we felt like we had a service that could really help people who were looking for that support, whether they're a bariatric patient or not. And it's so important to have someone to bounce ideas off and know how food affects you and what it's doing to your body, and how to wean yourself. And you've gone through this food transition yourself, because you weren't vegan before.
Right.
And you've been vegan how long now?
Since October of 2014.
And how did you do that?
Well, Tony Robbins gets so much credit. I mean, really, literally, I was already a vegetarian, mm-hmm. and I went to his Unleash the Power Within 9 years ago. I'm about to go again 9 years ago. And at the end of it, Mary Damon was with me, and he did this whole presentation on veganism. And I was already a vegetarian, and he challenged everybody, hey, give it 10 days. Just try it for 10 days. So I said, do you want to try it? And she said, yeah, let's try it. And she made it 3 days, and I never went back, because I dropped 40 pounds. Just like that.
I remember that.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's just, for me, a decision is the answer. I
Exactly.
made a decision. And here's what you guys want. I really want you to hear about this. Is a decision means to cut off from. There is no other option. And when you make a decision, a firm decision, I will no longer do this, it's really the easiest thing you've probably ever done.
Yes.
Once your mind is made up.
Yes.
The power of a made up mind.
Yeah. That determination is what Anne Marie and I felt like we needed to be able to offer to other people. Because, how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Go preach it, girl.
Yeah. And so if your desk is messy, then your living room's probably messy. So is your bedroom. If you're late for a meeting, then you're probably late for everything. So I love that phrase, because I think it really holds people accountable for the actions that they've decided to make. And they are making those choices. Those are not just happening to them. They are making those choices, whether they're conscious choices or not.
Well, yeah, I heard it put a different way, and I thought it was so powerful. You always touch the line. So I don't know, when you were young, it was called horses, right? Mm-hmm. When you did in the basketball court, they call it suicides or something different now. Mm-hmm. But if the coach didn't see that you didn't quite touch the line, you don't care. You go back and you touch the line every time when no one's looking. Mm-hmm. That's what integrity is.
Yes.
So yeah, I love
doing
it.
What's right even when no one's watching.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly. So, so that's kind of the story of what got me down this path. So both Anne-Marie and I enrolled in coaching program, and we were certified just this last spring. So,
so you enrolled in. It sounded like you enrolled as a receiving coaching.
No, we enrolled in getting a certificate. So we both got certified in life and health coaching, okay. And been doing it ever since. So
that is amazing. So there's a lot there to unpack, a lot. And one of the big things was how important is it? Because I think the biggest thing we all want to avoid is accountability.
Right.
And because it's scary and it's, right? We're independent Americans.
Right.
How important is accountability?
Honestly, I think it's probably everything. Truly, when it boils down to it, accountability that you hold for yourself is really hard to do, but it's so important because it goes back to what I just said. How you do one thing is literally how you do everything. So if you're not accountable to whatever you want to achieve in life or who you want to represent out in the world, then who is? You know, you have to hold some standards for yourself to just live an authentic life and live a life that you are proud of.
Are you proud?
I feel like I have accomplished so much in the last 6 years. You know, when I started the journey, I couldn't walk a half a block, and now I am an avid hiker. You share my enthusiasm for hiking, don't you?
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
And we live in a beautiful area to be able to do that. Mm-hmm. I feel like I actually, full circle story here. You know how I said I felt like I was in a fat suit that I couldn't shed no matter what I did. And but I felt like there was an athlete in there. I had one of my coworkers come up, and she's like, "I love your hiking posts; they're amazing." And you know, you're not just like a hiker anymore, Gwen. You're actually like athletic. And you know, I had forgotten that I had said that, but it like all those feelings came flooding back to me from me telling my doctor that. And I was like, "Wow, I can't believe, you know, talk about a full circle moment. Someone called me an athlete." You know?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Yes. And it does come full circle. But it's not instant.
No.
So how do you get through the days when, like, did you ever complete? Well, you did. You just told us all that you failed because during COVID, mm-hmm. when everyone was struggling.
Yeah.
I think all of us put on at least 15 pounds during COVID, right? And so you're struggling. How did you go from that, because your trajectory was headed in a bad place, to where you're headed now?
It is simply doing the small things every single day. I am a firm believer in the 1% better every day. And that can be something as simple as, you know, just not opening the refrigerator after 7:00. I have that saying, how you do one thing is how you do everything, on my refrigerator. And, you know, so I had to set some pretty strong boundaries for myself because I don't know if people realize this, but food addiction is a real thing for a lot of people. And it isn't just necessarily all mental. Your body actually craves those things. And so it takes a while to be able to talk yourself down from that, figure out other ways to move away from that. And I truly celebrate every small step I make because, you know, your life's journey is really made up of the small steps, not the big accomplishments. Yeah, that's great when you actually hit that goal or whatever you're trying to achieve, starting your own business, whatever. But life is lived in those small steps. And that is what most people don't realize is it's nothing earth-shattering. It's small things that really get you where you want to go.
It sounds so ridiculous. What she's saying sounds so ridiculous. You're kidding. It's just little steps.
Yeah.
And it's the truth, you guys. Literally, it's your habits. And Atomic Habits, I'm sure where you got that 1% better. So Atomic Habits, you've heard on this podcast brought up countless times from countless guests. Please go get the book. Please read that book. It just teaches us how to work with our brains and take those little steps.
Right.
So now you went through this, and someone out here who's watching has either had the surgery, is thinking about having the surgery or is just saying, I'm just done. I am so sick and tired of being sick and tired. What do you tell them is the first step? Other than going and getting coaching directly, but like, what is the first step?
Well, I would say the first step is once you've made that decision that you're just done being where you're at right now, really take a few minutes and figure out where you want to go. Not everybody wants to have bariatric surgery, you know. It's not that it's a horrible surgery for most people, because it's not anymore. And some people have really good results. But I really think that if you are wanting to, better yourself that way, it's important to have a vision of what you want and what that is going to look like. I knew that when I went into this, that I was going to have to set up my house different. I was going to have to get rid of things that were preventing me from being able to, achieve whatever I wanted to achieve. And I think that's kind of the first step, is you have to start looking at what are the other things I'm going to need to change? How is this going to affect the other areas of my life? What am I trying to achieve once I've done this? And so that's kind of, I would say, the first step is making that decision. Like we said, it's making that decision and then never going back on it. And does that mean that you're not going to fail sometimes? No, absolutely not. I mean, I'm a testament to that, And unfortunately with bariatric surgery, there is a very, very, very low success rate because people don't realize that it's only a tool. It's just something in your toolbox. It is not the end all be all. You're not forever going to not want to eat chips and dip or, what we call slider foods, crackers and things like that. Popcorn. That was a really, really hard one for me.
Popcorn's bad for you?
Well, popcorn, most carbs turn directly to sugar once they're in your system. And that's why people get crashes after they eat a lot of rice, they eat a big pasta dinner, things like that, because it just converts very quickly to sugar.
Who knew? I thought popcorn was safe.
Well, I mean, in the whole scheme of things, if you're going to eat something as a snack, that's probably one of the better ones. But I don't snack anymore. I mean, that's one of the lines I've set. I don't snack. I don't eat sugar except through natural forms like in, fruit. And that's kind of limited in my diet, but I have a little bit every day. And I no longer eat flour. So...
of any kind.
Of any kind.
Gluten-free, not...
Of any kind. My husband's vegan and gluten-free. So we have a very interesting way of preparing foods in our house.
No, I get it because I'm vegan and gluten-free as well. And it is so difficult. And that's why I can feel very confident asking you this. Socially, it's incredibly awkward when someone says, hey, Gwen, why don't you and Kirk come over for dinner? What do you say to them?
I usually say, well, first of all, most people know up front that, our dietary, my mom hates it. I mean, she, she is so old school on everything that way. And it is like her nemesis that, my brother's vegetarian most of the time too. But she hates that she has to have different versions of everything. I have been married almost 29 years now. So I've been doing it a long time because he's been vegan the whole time. He became vegetarian, I would say 4 or 5 years ago. And, my kids have had issues too. So literally I have posts back in the day of 3 different meals. I mean, basically the same meal in 3 different versions to meet everyone's dietary needs. So when someone asks me, do you want to come over for dinner? I say, I just want to let you know that I don't eat flour or sugar and my husband's gluten-free and vegan. So can we bring stuff?
But most people don't want to let you.
No, I know.
It's so hard. So let us tell you, please let us tell you, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's awkward for us to have to tell you that we are impossible to feed. So just let us bring food and we'll be happy and you'll be happy and it'll be great.
or I say, if you really want to make sure you just have your bases covered, just make sure you have a nice salad.
Right.
that doesn't have cheese on it and doesn't have bacon on it.
And eggs.
Yeah, exactly. Or ranch dressing.
Oh my goodness, it's difficult. So because of that, right? So you don't want to be normal, but you want to fit in.
Right.
So how do you coach someone on how to get past the social pressure?
Well, you know what you can do is if you're going to a party or something like that, eat before you go. That's the bottom line. Because nobody is noticing that you are not eating. They're paying attention to what they're doing. You know, they really don't notice that you're not, you know, going through the snack line or whatever. They don't care, you know? So that would be the first thing. If you're going to someone's house, like I said, I just always say, make sure you have a salad and everybody will be happy, you know, or a side dish that you didn't cook in chicken broth.
And butter.
Yeah.
Which is like we can't fathom this.
No.
It's so different. So very, very interesting. All right. So when you fall off, something really stresses you out and then you eat a cheesecake. What happens after that? What happens the next day?
You just start again. That's the bottom line. I mean, life is full of challenges and things are going to happen. You know, you lose relationships, people die, your house burns down, it gets burglarized. You know, there's all kinds of crazy things that are going to be thrown in your path. But as long as you know that no matter what happens, the next step is just to do the next step. You know, always know that you're moving forward on whatever you're trying to achieve.
Somebody who's out there is wanting to lose some weight. It's not to surgery level, but they want to lose 20 pounds. They want to lose 50 pounds, whatever it is. And they've never had a coach. They've never been exposed to coaching. It's a little scary, right? So they're they're opening their life up to you. Why can they trust you?
Well, I feel like any coach creates sacred space for every person that they bring into their inner world because it is very personal. And a lot is said in coaching. And we're not therapists, but we do some really deep work with our clients to help them realize what is the biggest trigger and what's holding them back. And really, it's a self-actualization for the client. It has nothing to do with me. I'm just facilitating that for them, which I feel so honored, and I'm sure you do too, to be able to be in that inner sanctum with people and have that total connection. And when they have a realization or breakthrough, it is truly amazing. Truly, truly amazing. It is what feeds my soul. I feel like this was my life purpose and what I really wanted to do all this time.
That is so cool that you found it and that you're doing it. So if they sign up, what is the commitment?
I typically have people sign up for 6 months commitment or longer because it takes that long to have transformation.
Oh, sure.
I prefer, you know, we do weekly sessions that are scheduled. I assign homework.
Yes, of course.
You know, and make sure that they understand there's a commitment. This is a commitment to yourself. You are doing the best thing you can possibly do for yourself. And I am going to be kind and hold you accountable. Kind and accountable, not like your best friend, but I am kind and accountable.
Very cool. And it is something we all need so desperately. It's really amazing, especially let's say that you're a very self-driven, self-motivated person. You're talking to one. However,
talking to two.
talking to two. Did you ever submit until you finally learned about coaching? Did you you submitted to listening to their books or their tapes or their podcasts, but did you actually one-on-one say, I need help with
Yeah.
this.
I actually had a coach. When I first moved to New Mexico, I had started working with a coach when I lived in Phoenix. And I continued that relationship for a good 6-7 months after I moved here. I had a lot going on back then. My kids were really little. And, just needed that extra accountability with someone. And it really made a huge difference.
Yeah, I wish I had. I was so stubborn and so guarded. Please don't be guarded. I've known this woman for almost 20 years. Please don't be guarded. I was so guarded that I wouldn't allow two-way. I was getting coaching constantly. I just starved for it, but I wouldn't allow it two-way. And so I didn't get the input from someone else, someone on the outside. So it's kind of like this. It's kind of like your coach is, you're both going to a parade. You're going to go to a parade with your coach. Your coach goes to the hotel room that's 10 floors up. You're down on the curb. So you see the floats that are coming right here, and they're like, oh, that's cool, that's cool. Your coach sees what's down a mile down and can warn you and can say, hey, maybe you need to do this because they've done it before.
Right.
Gwen, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your time and your wisdom with anybody who's listening. How can they get a hold of you directly?
You can always reach out to me via email at yourhealthcoachgwen@gmail.com. I'm also on Instagram at Coach Gwen Brown, and I'm on Facebook at Gwen Brown. Of course, there's going to be a million Gwen Browns on Facebook, so start at the Instagram if you're an Instagram person, and go to at Coach Gwen Brown.
Okay, well, we'll put those links in the bottom. Guys, don't hesitate. I mean, if you're even thinking, I really want to do something different, and I've been trying to do it on my own all this time, the only thing getting a coach does, if you're already determined, is it's the accelerator for how quickly you get there. So give it a shot. Have a good one. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.